Hello, welcome. This is the introductory video to my motorhome and to take you through what I'm going to be doing with her. Currently called Elsie, my initials Elsie, but she and I have spent 1 week together now, so I think I've come to terms with most of her features for day-to-day living. A couple of things still to sort out. The fridge doesn't work, the heater doesn't work, but this is the 7th night that I've spent in here, and it's slowly starting to feel more and more comfortable. But I've got great plans. I've got lots that I want to do with her. She is a 1991 Talbot Express Eldis AutoQuest. So the Talbot Express bit is the motor bit, and the Eldis AutoQuest is the back, the caravan bit, and she's lovely. She's got a really lovely vintage style about her. I'll show you the outside shortly. So she is now my full-time home. I am at a caravan park, which is sort of a Park Homes caravan park, that is open all year round, in the outskirts of Leeds. Beautiful setting in the woods. It's a beautiful sunny day today, and this is where I've come to base myself while I get used to this life, and they get used to this life too. So I'm here with my two fur balls, Albie and Wilf, so I'm going to be based here while I get used to things, while I work on the fan and do things I want to do to enhance it, or also upcycle it to some extent, because there's some things I'm going to improve on as well as just decorative touches. So then I'm going to be thinking about where am I going to take her. But, you know, one thing at a time. We're just going to find our feet first, this whole new lifestyle. And I'm going to show you some of what I'm going to be doing as I go along. Hopefully taking her from what is fairly tired looking now, I suppose, interior. It's pretty much 100% laminate and plastic. So she is going to get quite a new look internally. I actually do up furniture for a living, so I refinish vintage furniture with geometric designs and sort of lots of beautiful wood refinishing as well. So I might be bringing some real wood in here as a nod to that, but also looking at upcycling a lot of the interior, so bringing in reclaimed materials, salvage things, rather than buying new. So if I need to put some wood in, I'll buy something from a reclamation yard, for example. Working with what's here as much as I can, but replacing it where stylistically it just doesn't work, or it's not as practical as it was, say for example like the laminate, which some of it is starting to come away in places. And then there's a few things I want to do that sort of enhance how the space works as well. I'll give you a bit of a guided tour of the layout of it, you know, because the layouts are also different inside these motorhomes. So I've got some ideas about things that I want to do. I've got some little jobs to start with straight away, just to make it easier for me to get some things up on the walls before I start in earnest on the sort of bigger jobs. And as I go, I'll be learning all about all of the workings of the motorhome of Elsie. I've learned so much in a week. It's been an absolute roller coaster of emotions and everything, but I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it, and I will show you warts and all as I go through the things that go right and go wrong. You know, I got myself locked out earlier on. I had no water yesterday after conquering all of that. You know, I've had to work out the gas works, the heater, all that sort of thing, actually literally sucking the water through the system to repressurize it. So I am learning, and thank goodness there's so many people out there, not just with the same kind of motorhome as me, but there's loads of different Facebook groups, so there's places to go, lots of van lifers to go for support and sort of expertise really as you're learning everything. but yeah, I am loving it. It's, you know, on a day like this, obviously it's wonderful to be out here in nature, you know, a smaller carbon footprint, thinking about the things you're doing as you're doing them a lot more. So reducing the amount of rubbish you create, the amount of water, you know, you turn the taps off all the time because you want to conserve it, because you've got to go and fill it up. The amount of loo roll you use, just things like that. It's made me very conscious of you know, the differences that I can make in living sort of a simpler life that feels much more connected. But also it's my own space, and it's my own space that I can take places. So I'm looking forward to just personalising it, making it just even more of a, you know, perfect hangout, and then getting on the road. So get some trips, some short trips planned in to start with, to find my feet, because I've only driven her 3 times, and the second time the one of the cupboards flew open over a speed bump and crockery came crashing out, which was, you know, like you say, it's just a steep learning curve, but yeah, it's very, very, very exciting and very rewarding. So I'm going to take you on a bit of a tour and show you Elsie as she is today, and then, you know, start to sort of chart some of the things that I'm doing with it, whether as I go along, the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations of getting her looking super cool. So talking about this being my perfect hangout, what I didn't mention was I've come from a rental post COVID. The landlady wanted it back, and wanted to move back in, so I've had to move, and found it very, very difficult to find somewhere to live, with 2 dogs, not expecting to have to move, and that everybody else was trying to move after 18 months of being stuck where they were. It's been pretty horrendous, and I think I was down to about 5-10% of properties where, especially as a single self-employed person, I was deemed even allowed to go and view. I mean, I wasn't even getting through the application process to view, because viewings were restricted as well. So I found that very difficult, and I've always been interested in, I've fantasized about converting a double-decker bus and shipping containers, all sorts over the years. Big fan of amazing spaces. Didn't really ever kind of, it was always a fantasy and a dream, basically. And the more that I felt powerless in the situation of having to leave, not through my own choice, and not having anywhere to go to, rapidly my choices were running out, and I was feeling like I was going to end up living somewhere I really didn't want to be. That would have been a horrible feeling of going from a nice little 3-bedroom house that was cozy and had a backyard for the dogs and it was quite private, to suddenly something that awful that I didn't want to live in, that would have been quite depressing because it wasn't where I wanted to be, or something that was really expensive, that would have cost so much that I would just be stuck in a rental loop where I couldn't afford to save any money from my own deposit for a place. And I'd gone through a breakup last August and tried to move then, and the same situation, so I'd stayed where I was in the property, but what I'd had to do was pay all the rent, all the bills, and it was just quite crippling. It just left no money to save. You just, you know, a nice lifestyle, nice comfortable house for one person, but, you know, nothing left over for your future. And I've moved around a lot as an adult. I moved from Leeds to London and then back again, and I worked out that this was my 21st property, the one I've just moved out of. So 21st property in 27 years. So that's from the house, the first place I lived in at university, all the way through to now, and 21 properties. So it just felt like it was time that I had something of my own, that wasn't somebody else's magnolia walls, wasn't going straight into somebody else's pocket and leaving me with no options for the future. And the more I started looking at it, okay, it seems quite romantic online, looking at hashtag vanlife, and you think, oh my goodness. And of course, it's also very, well, usually a lot of them are in the US, and it's really lovely and warm. And so you've got to think about the logistics of that and the practicalities. And so I was thinking about van conversions. I thought, well, I haven't got time for that. And really, is it too small for me? You know, I need something that is quite livable. So this is why this sort of model of motorhome made perfect sense. It was already converted, already insulated, already got all the things in it that you needed, and I could get going straight away. I did look at bigger size motorhomes, but I also needed to be confident to be able to drive it. So this size is that perfect starting point where, you know, you've got everything you need: a shower, a toilet, a kitchen area, beds, that you can leave. You can have a bed, and you can also leave your sofas, you know, just as they are, and you're not kind of constantly moving stuff around. Well, there is an element of moving stuff around constantly in a van, as anybody know who has one will know. But what I mean is putting your bed away every day, it just would become a bit of a drag. I want somewhere to go to sit, and I want to be able to go to bed. So this just became the option. I can't believe I've actually done it. I still can't believe I've actually done it. Thanks to a little bit of a loan from my parents and from a friend, my best friend, I should say, from a friend. Should watch that and just say thanks. As a sort of to get me off the blocks and get me out there. So yeah. It just seems quite bizarre that actually I am actually doing it. When it was sat on my drive, I was thinking, shit, am I actually doing this? And the whole downsizing process was slightly traumatic in terms of just such a lot to do, as well as moving by yourself. I must have got up to about 20 car loads, and I have a big car. I have a Ford Galaxy, so it was a lot of moving, but very cathartic as well. And now I have the ability to completely personalise my own space, which if I'd moved just into some random other flat, I would have just felt like I was still treading water, I think. So now this is the start of a new era for me. It really does feel like that. If I decide in a year's time I don't want to do this anymore, you know, I can rent this out, I can size up, I can save, but I'm loving the lifestyle. I think instinctively I knew I would. It's not to say there won't be challenges, but there's challenges with all things. But I feel like these challenges will really grow me, give me new opportunities to grow, I should say. And life will never be dull. I don't want life to be mundane. So, yeah, that's a little bit about, you know, the background of where I've come from. And so looking forward to the future, whether this becomes the start of Done Up Campers, building on my Done Up North business, or whether it just becomes my home. And yeah, once I've personalised this space and put the Done Up North stamp on it, maybe there will be many more. We'll see. So Elsie has 2 full-size couches, so left and right, with built-in storage underneath. Also, this is where you find a lot of the workings. So you can see down here I've got speakers and power in this one, but and also the blown heating down there. Lift up, there's a water tank in here, and then some of them open from the front as well. Still sorting out some of the things that are stored in here, as you can see, tying things up. And then in this one here we've got the water heater. And then on this side where the dogs are, so we probably won't be able to go in there, but we've got some of the workings are in here, the electrics and so on are in there. Say hello. So into the front, into the cab there, you see I've got it set up with a heater at the moment. That's my infrared heater. Because the actual heating in the van isn't, we haven't got it working yet. Up there above the cab there is a double bed. It's a small double. So that's where I've been sleeping some of the time. I've sat down here a couple of times because it also converts to a double down here. Very large double actually. You can either go, you see those batons there, you can either use the front short section and the middle section, or the middle section and this short section here. So you can either have a gap at that end or a gap at this end, and you're just literally putting some planks down here, and then you pull the seat cushions down, pop them in the middle, and you've got a fabulous double bed. So it's quite flexible. You could actually sleep people left and right as well if you wanted to, and you could probably get more than 2 people in there, but I don't know, people who sleep together in 3s. So we've got Little windows up there as well. So it's all got it's got loads of curtains. It's got a blanket up there. So they could probably do with a few more curtain hooks or a bit of change. The old lighting, the original lighting is not very pretty, so we might look at something to replace that in time. And these would also benefit from perhaps being actual skylights. So there's two, there's one at the back as well. There's one at the back and there's one in the bathroom as well. So the lighting is this 12-volt lighting that works off the battery up here. With tubes in, fluorescent tubes. It's a bit harsh at night, to be said. So we might look at doing something with that at some point. We've also got this curtains that come across to close off this area up here. And see, like so. So that's something I might change actually. I think it looks nicer with it open actually, but obviously if you've got more than one set of people sleeping, you might want to sort of close that off. I'm thinking of perhaps putting some fretwork panels up here. I would like to be able to take the dogs up there occasionally, but I am worried about them falling off. So it might be that I do some sliding panels up there. But we'll see. At the moment, that's why I've just been sleeping down here if it's a bit wild and windy outside and they're a bit scared. Or I just want to wake up with them in the morning on a Saturday or something, you know, and we could have some Saturday morning cuddles. So it's quite nice. I think one of my first projects is to remove these little drinks trays, very airline. They're a bit bendy. Not many of my cups fit in these things here. So this is going to come off. Looks like it just unscrews here. And I'm going to fit some shelving there. Possibly there as well. It'd be nice to have some plants up. Somewhere to put your glass that actually holds the weight of the glass. Similarly here, it might be good to put something like that here. These are all areas that are good for some decoration, I think. So the existing upholstery, I'm not sure if it's original. It might well be actually, because it's not that old. It's 30 years old, so the blinds certainly are. These are like fly screens, so you can have the windows open if you want to, but they've got some little bits of damage in, which you see, there's some here. To see if I can repair that, I think. And then you've also got blackout blinds that pull down like so, and they sit at different levels like that. So interesting design. Maybe something that I try and refinish, because it's quite a big undertaking to refit those with blackout blinds. So it might be that I actually put something across the top of it, you know, sort of apply something or paint something to change that a little bit. So we'll see. Little faux curtains here. Thinking that might be one of the first things to go, just to take those up and open up the space a little bit. We'll see. I don't think they're needed. They're only about yeah. So they might come off. That will open up the space. But what really is going to open up the space is that all this laminate's going to be painted. So I'll spin you around and show you this end shortly. But all of these lockers are, it's all plastic laminate. You can see it down here actually. There's some that's actually coming off. So you can see it's just plastic. I'm actually going to have to repair that to be able to paint it. So I will prime it all, and it's going to be sort of quite a cool neutral cream colour, so nothing too magnolia, having just said that about magnolia. But I don't want to do anything too crazy to this, because I might want to sell it on. I might want to do another van, so I don't want to be doing it too personal and then adding decorative touches to it. So there might be a little bit on the walls, say in the kitchen area, where I actually bring in some geometric design, but I'm not going to go so personal to me. I'm not going to do it sort of bright colours or anything, because I do want to obviously keep it sophisticated and for it to appeal to people. So I'll just give you a little tour of the storage up here as well. So I think that I might change this for something a bit more contemporary. These little, very useful. Obviously we do need railings to stop things sliding around, but I don't like the turned effect. So I think when it comes to priming and painting these, I don't think it's really going to work to take these frames off. I think we're just going to have to work with them. But I think I'll replace the handles. They are plastic, they're purely plastic. But I've got some nice black metal ones in mind for that. That I've just bought for a piece of furniture actually. And then we didn't use them, so I think they could look lovely there. They've got sort of a faceted end on them. So this is obviously my first week and I'm just sort of finding space for things. So that's just got medicines and hair stuff in at the moment. I'm sure as things go on, I'll move things around and find baskets that fit things better. So I've got some cookbooks, slow cooker. That's my smoothie maker up there. So you can see there's quite a lot of space up there that's not being used. So some of these could do with a shelving at the top, but obviously, like I say, it's shut properly. Over here we've got another one of those little shelves. So we've got makeup and stuff in there again. A lot of wasted space there, but I don't need it at the moment. That's my underwear. So I'm going to actually get these stacking baskets. I'm going to get another set of them so that they do go to the full height, because they actually stack on these little arms there. So that will be good, because currently I've got stuff underneath here that could do with being more accessible up there. So into the far end, so you can see the cabinetry goes all the way around. We've got a wardrobe on the left here. So this is quite small compared to some motorhomes. Just move this table, because I've been using these little pop-out vintage tables for somewhere to put things, because obviously this doesn't have lots of fixed tables, and so it's just been proving useful. So let's just open that up. And then we've got the little wardrobe space. So it only goes down to just above where the heater starts. So this is the original heater, which is gas powered, which we need to get working yet. That blows air out of the vent down there, but also the vent in the bathroom. So I think when it comes to winter, I'm going to need that, at least when I'm going to be using the bathroom, just to give it a bit of warmth in there, because my heater won't necessarily heat the bathroom. So it's quite a good little space for wardrobe. To improve some of these hooks though, because I can't get the doors shut necessarily. So there we go. And the bathroom itself. So this is the table that comes with this particular motorhome. Oh. I think the dogs have spotted another dog. So it clips up there, which isn't ideal. So I'm just living with it for now. If I don't use it at all, I don't get it out very often because it's a bit of a faff getting that out, but if I've got a lot of people here for dinner or something, it might be useful. But it might be something I can refinish, so it's maybe cream and then it sort of doesn't look as obtrusive on the wall there. This whole bathroom I'm going to redo with some nice sort of vinyl tile effect. I think all of the sealant here is quite grotty, so it needs redoing. It's in pretty good shape. I noticed some cracks in the sink there where it's been screwed in, and it's got sort of a thing there, so maybe need to look for a replacement one. There's one there as well, because that might start to leak down inside. The shower tray looks okay, and the loo and everything's in good condition. Yeah, gosh, I feel the heat coming through there. It's a lovely day. Yeah, so this can all benefit from a bit of... I just had my first shower in here actually, which was interesting, but went okay. You don't get the best shower spray off that thing, and you have to press the trigger to get your water to come out, lather up and then hose yourself down. But yeah, pretty good to be able to do that in your own space, and the water was lovely and hot, so I can't complain about that. So this again might be something I might have to replace this, get some new panels put in there, and maybe paint this up to match the wall. But lots of scope. Just pull the curtain back now that I'm finished in there. And then yeah, still working out the logistics of having dogs and boils of dog food in a motorhome. It's very interesting, but we're getting there. That's just fallen over. So the kitchen area. Sorry, Albie. A kitchen area. This is how it looks when it's all closed. So you've got your oven, space underneath for pans. I've got the stuff stored in there as well. and then obviously your fridge, and then other cupboards. This is your grill in here. I've also got a little teapot, sorry. So you lift up this chopping board, connect it in there, and you can obviously pull out your little kettle. So it's a teapot kettle combined sort of thing. Close that back up. Get that to close. There we go. So gas oven, gas hob, fridge, 3-way fridge that works off the battery. Well, it works off the battery, off the electricity and off gas. It's not working off any of them properly at the moment, to be fair. So that is one of the things that needs looking at. But I'm managing, just buying food as I go. And this is the sink. So quite neatly disguised there. So this is what I'm thinking of replacing with a good piece of nice real wood, so you can use that properly. And that just clips up there like so. I've got a broken tap, so that is replacing. It's coming out at the moment, but it comes out like a water fountain, so you have to be quite careful not to end up sort of splashing yourself. So that, I've got a new tap for that I need to try and fit, but it is obviously quite hard to get in behind here. This is your sink, which gives you a little bit of storage space, so I've got to try and get in there and round the back to sort that. This is quite a nifty thing that I've got hold of that I think makes the drainer a little bit bigger, because it's not a very big drainer, that. Imagine getting your whole you know, washing up after your dinner, just trying to drain it on there. So I've put this on. You can actually put hot pans on that as well, so it gives me a little bit more space. But it's actually perfectly workable. Just put that in there again, if I can. Right, well, it's not going in, so just close that for now. And then moving around here, we've got, it's quite a nifty little fold up section here, which actually I might get rid of. That's quite nice. I've got a door that splits in two, what's that called, stable door type thing, which I'm really pleased about, because it, you know, lets you get some fresh air in and the outside in, but you don't have to have the door wide open. So this is the drinks cabinet. I've just got some things. I'm going to get rid of this lattice perspex, I think. Maybe do some design on that. It might be that I can remove this, take the leading off it and just reuse it and put some, you know, geometric design on it or something. So it needs a bit of organisation in here, and I think it needs a shelf. So I think a shelf up there, maybe drop that bracket down a bit, although the spacing between the clips is a bit tight for modern sized glasses. We obviously drink much bigger glasses now than they did in the vintage. This is a vintage wine glass actually, so a little bit smaller. So I might have to get a new rack that will take more glasses and maybe go end to end, drop that down, put a shelf above so that I can get my mugs and stuff up there, because it's not really using the space very well at the moment. This is going to need sorting out. It might be that I just take that off and fill it, or maybe use a different kind of edge banding. So some of my furniture restoration and refinishing expertise will come in. Other things I'll just be having to learn as I go. Case in point, what I want to do here, I'm going to actually replace, I started pulling off this contact paper that somebody's stuck up here. Somebody's just popped that up, I don't know why, because it's not very nice. But I've got some lovely cork I'm going to put there. I was even thinking about maybe putting a cork section on this door here, having the mirror on the inside of the door and having a cork board sort of inset there is one idea. But this is all going to be painted as well. But what I'm thinking of doing is here, and in readiness you can see I've got a little bin that actually fits inside a cupboard and opens when you open the cupboard. So excuse the contents, but it's recycling and regular waste in two. And that doesn't take up much space. And so the idea is I'm going to extend this cabinet here out to at least, obviously, to house that. Maybe raise that up a little bit so we can have a drawer underneath, which I've seen people doing in the van conversions, which I love. A drawer underneath where the dog's water could be, so that could just slide out there rather than having it there, because the amount of times I've kicked it over is not true. So having it here. And then have the bin mounted in the middle of that cupboard, and then above it I can have the vac, because that's incredibly useful when you've got two hairy beings with you. So have the vac inside there, and then I'll have obviously space for other things. The drawer, I'm thinking I'll put around here. It literally is just a hole, and then it's got a flat surface inside, because inside there is the gas tank, which you access from a flap on the outside. So the drawer could be accessed through this area, lose this, perhaps have some hooks or so on down there for leads and stuff. I need some hooks up there as well for keys and things. And today's job is actually to get some spice racks up there, and then also to get my utensils on a rail up there. There's little things that, you know, I haven't got space for them in the cupboard, so I need them hanging up. No, I didn't really go into these, just tea towels, and there's quite a bit of storage space still in there. And then down here is bottles and cleaning fluids and containers and that sort of thing. There's quite a lot of space in there as well. So this is fortunately a really big deep drawer, so it fits everything in, utensil wise, that I need. But that could easily move because it hasn't got runners, creating me, and I'd probably put a new top on it as well, so put a wood top on it, creating me like a little breakfast bar thing, so that I can actually be facing that way while I'm food prepping, as well as facing obviously out into that way. But you know, when I was like watching TV on my laptop last night, I kept missing bits, having to come and pause it, so it'd be quite nice to actually be doing my food prep here, so I can, when I'm watching a film or what have you on the telly. So I've got my full-size coffee machine, as you can see. But obviously only going to work when I'm on electricity, on a site like this. When I'm off grid, I would have to use another way, like an AeroPress or whatever. And my hen, which I will part with if I really have to, but it fits so far. But I might just need to velcro it down so that it doesn't move when the van moves. I want to make sure that things are as secure as possible, so I can just take off without having to put too much stuff away. The cupboards are quite secure if you don't go over speed bumps very quickly like I did, and lost a few pots that way. Yeah, and the other thing I'm thinking is, and so this is, again, this is going to need perhaps a joiner to help me to do this. I could certainly try and tackle it, but I do want it to, you know, I need to probably do that before I do the painting, but I could start painting sections of this bit by bit, take it down to my studio, park it outside, and obviously prep up section by section, or even just take the doors into the studio and do that. That's what I'm thinking. But I'm also needing to put in a table that's more accessible, so I'm thinking of doing like a swan neck one, like the van conversions often do, perhaps putting these chairs on swivel bases so that they can turn around. But I think here it would be nice to have a little table that goes in there, the leg goes in there, and then the top slides on, and it can fold round, and I can sit there on my laptop, or it can go back and I can watch, you know, have my TV on there, so that's what I'm thinking. At least one of those, perhaps even, you know, something here, because when you're sitting here, there's literally nowhere to put a glass or you know, or a mug. So that's why that table's proved really useful. Just needs a little bit more thinking about. Some of these vans will have like a dinette, so that would be two facing couches with a gap, and then along the wall you'd have like a little a channel that your table would slide into, and usually maybe like a pole, a hole to sort of put a leg for the table, and then that table could be slides in between the two and becomes the base of a bed there. And obviously I don't have that, and I've got to sit sort of facing forwards always. So I'm thinking, well, I could certainly have off the back of this breakfast bar, I could have a little table that folds up, so you've got somewhere to put a cup or what have you. But I'm also thinking longer term, these below sections are in 3, so there's 3, 2 of them open and one of them doesn't because it's got a speaker in the end. But I'm thinking if you could actually divide that up inside, so structurally it's in 3 sections, and this middle section could actually come out on casters. So this is what they've got to get used to. They've got to get used to all the noise and the dogs around. So often I'll have the radio on here, as I did when they first came to the UK, just so that they're not disturbed constantly. I mean, it's good in a way. I do need my guard dogs, don't I, if I'm going to be travelling around. And so I was thinking if that bit could slide out, you could then push it down the end, and you've got like a U shape, or you've got a, you know, like an L shape, so you can actually lie in a sort of slightly more comfortable way than just lying in a straight line with 2 dogs sat on top of it. It can get a bit, and then that means you could put your feet down here, and a table could go in. But because then by doing that, I wouldn't lose the storage space, which when you have a dinette, you only have the storage there and there. You don't get this bit. But if I had a movable bit that moved around, it's a project, it's an idea, and it's, yes, thank you, boys. But that might be for, you know, down the line. We'll get well, actually, one of the first things I want to do before painting is probably do the floor. So this has got like quite a heavy duty carpet in, but as you can see, it's already quite marked from just from a week of us coming and going through the woods for walks. That's why they've got a towel there, so I'm going to probably get some nice throws so that I've got something to keep these as nice as possible, and then longer term I will change the upholstery, I think. But I think it's livable for now. Let's get the basics right, get the floor changed, something more practical. I'm going between okay, boys are getting themselves a bit excited there. So yeah, I'm thinking either parquet, real reclaimed parquet, but find something that's quite sort of thin and not too bigger pieces, or whether to put down a vinyl parquet effect. So that's going to be coming up before I start painting. So I'll do some sort of smaller DIY jobs. I think today I'm also going to go and peel off the decals on the outside. So I will I'll take you outside and show you what she looks like now, and show you what's hiding beneath the existing decals, and we can reveal Elsie as she would have been. Right, let's stop. Now say sorry. A bit too exciting, isn't it? Too much stimulation. Come on then, let's go outside.